Alrighty, good morning, afternoon, evening, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of the Neer Network brought to you by SAAC. Again, my name is Caleigh Johnson, and I am the president of SAAC here at Smith. And today I am super excited to have two second-year graduate assistants, Taylor and Alanna. So if you both just want to introduce yourselves real quick, kind of say where you are, what teams you support, and then we'll get started.
Sure.
Here you, Alanna.
Oh, great. Well, I'm Alanna McDonough. I'm a second-year GA. I am the GA for cross country and track and field. I am currently Zooming in from Maine, where my parents have very graciously taken in their adult daughter to live during this pandemic. So that's where I'm at.
Awesome.
And I'm Taylor Reifert. I'm a second-year graduate assistant as well. I am the assistant coach for the soccer team. I had the pleasure of getting to come to some volleyball practices last fall, and
yes,
I had the chance to work a little bit with the softball team in the spring to throw some batting practice. So, dip my toes in a lot of areas at Smith, and I am, like Alanna, Zooming from my childhood bedroom here in Chicago, where my parents, again, also graciously have taken in their adult child. So, right?
What is it like being home? I know for me, I was home this summer and I was like, wow, I actually like being on my own a little bit, but it is great to come home. But I know for you two, you've kind of been out on your own for a while. So what is it like being home?
Yeah, my appreciation for my home and my family has grown exponentially since leaving college. When I was in college, like you sent me home for break and it was great not to do the work for a week. And then I was like, yo, I gotta get back there and be with my friends. This is crazy. And then, you live on your own for a couple of years. You go to work, you cook your food, you have to deal with all the things that happen in your apartment that are just generally a nuisance. And you're like, oh, I just want to be home. So I would say I'm thriving in my home environment for sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I actually just got home this weekend, so I had been living in Somerville, just outside of Boston. So this is my first week sort of settling back in home, but my mom is also a college soccer coach. My dad works in sports, so it's fun to be back in an environment where it's all we talk about, all we do. So it's definitely boosted my productivity to be back home. And again, I really love my family. We play a lot of games. We watch a lot of fun TV together and cook. And so I've really, like Alanna, enjoyed not having to adult so aggressively for these few months. And now that I'm home.
That's awesome. So I know there's a lot of people that are like tuned into this Zoom that don't really know you two. So would you guys mind kind of giving us your background, kind of where you went to school? You both said your hometowns, but like what you majored in college, maybe even like some career highlights that you guys had, just so we get like a feel for like who you two are for the people that don't know you.
Yeah, so I'm just hopping on this going first thing because I just got to do it. Let's see, I went to college in Maine at Colby College. I graduated in 2016, which is longer ago than I like to think now. All of a sudden, I ran all 3 seasons while I was there, so cross country, indoor track, and outdoor track.
Oh.
I absolutely loved my experience there. Had a great running career, which I'm very grateful for, and I miss getting to throw on the Mules jersey and compete for something sort of bigger than myself. But it's memory lane. While I was there, I majored in environmental science and had a minor in education, and that's kind of where I thought I was going to go. My first job out of college, I worked in Acadia National Park in Maine. For the National Park Service, doing what they call interpretation. So talking to visitors to the park about the ecology, about the history. A lot of the times it was them asking me like where a bathroom was. So I was doing that, and my coach from college reached out to me, and Colby has this internship that allows a recent graduate to come back and work as an assistant coach for a year. And he was like, if you're looking for something to do, try that. And so I was lucky enough to be awarded that internship, went back to coach, and I have not stopped for quite a few years now. So, there have been lots of highlights since becoming a coach. probably the best of which is just realizing that that's what I wanted to do through the highs and the lows. It's definitely the most rewarding thing. It was nice to be in the environment and getting to hike around, which I also love, but this job has proven to, I don't know, steal my heart. So that's me.
That's awesome.
Nice. Yeah, so as I said, I'm from Chicago. So I grew up here and initially went to college at Lawrence University in Wisconsin. So I went there for 2 years and then transferred to Pitzer College, which is just about an hour outside of Los Angeles. And so I played soccer for Pomona Pitzer for my last 2 years of college, studied anthropology. I, like Caleigh, was a big time SAAC member and, like to involve myself in a ton of ways. Sometimes you could find me in the Mighty Sage Hen mascot costume. You could find me doing whatever. But while I was in college, I had at Pitzer, I had a really amazing opportunity to serve as the student assistant softball coach for 2 years, and really absolutely loved that experience. And then my senior year, the women's soccer team at Pomona Pitzer made it to the SAAC conference tournament, and I got to assist with them. And so I always loved being around a team, being in a team environment. So that's what sort of led me towards coaching. As I said, my mom is a coach, her dad was a coach. Coaching and education are really, tightly wound into my family. And so I was senior year kind of trying to decide. I graduated in 2019, trying to decide what would be the next step, and looked into the Fulbright, some of those sort of teaching fellowships. And then I have an amazing network of college coaches who are just friends of my family. And so someone suggested the Smith program to me, and I connected with Jeanette, my now boss, and it was like, oh, this is the perfect fit for me to keep doing this. And as I said, I just graduated in 2019, so I've really enjoyed the growth that I feel like I've been able to make in the year and a half here. And yeah, a year and a half, and I don't think I'm turning back. Coaching is for me, and you can ask my team. Like I try to be a ball of energy. I am the celebrator when our team scores. Like I truly enjoy the fun and the excitement of getting to be on a team. So that's where I am.
I really do feel like everybody should have to do, like, we should have like a all athletic wide like workout day, because I live with 2 soccer players and they do lift once a week or twice a week, and Taylor does their warm up, and I will be sitting like in our kitchen and he'll be doing the warm up, and I'm like, wow, like I want to go work out now. This man is like so energetic. Like I just want to go lift with them.
Heck yeah.
So I think we should try to work that out, Taylor. Like we should do an all wide athletic whole workout, and you can lead us in our warm up.
Perfect.
We should do that. Okay, I'll get back to you on that. All right. But Taylor, you did lead me kind of into my next question. You said that like your mom's a coach and she's been a coach for a long time and a very successful career. Your sister also plays soccer, and I know she made it pretty far this year against your own school, or your mom's school. She played against your mom?
Yes.
Okay. So for both of you, why Smith? Like what, I know we get asked this as recruits all the time, like why we chose Smith, but why did you choose Smith? And I know Taylor, you touched on it a little bit, but like elaborate for us. What was the attraction as a graduate assistant coming into a really small program in a very specific program? What was the attraction for you?
How about you take this one, Taylor? You go first.
Yeah, no, I've always known that coaching in some capacity was something that I wanted to do with my life, right? I can think back to a lot of amazing coaches I've had, and I can think back to a lot of coaches who needed some more growth that I've had in my life. And I, wanted to be able to provide an environment for student athletes that would be supportive, encouraging, inclusive, all of those things. And that was something I felt like immediately once I stepped on campus at Smith. And, I think for me, Smith is an amazing institution in terms of the connections that you make with everyone and anyone around you, right? Like I feel connected to Caleigh, and I've just simply worked with their team like 5 times, right? Like you build so many of these amazing connections on such a tight-knit level. And I really enjoy that. I think it's a perfect size school for me. Pitzer and Pomona are also part of a consortium. So getting to come to another consortium, I really loved that aspect of the whole experience. And then I think for me personally, it was about finding a place where I really could feel like I could be my full self. I could be loud, fun, queer, whatever I wanted to be in this environment and be totally accepted. And right, like when you are true and authentic to yourself, that's when you can be your best. And that was something I felt would be catered to here at Smith. And then on top of that, my boss has become an amazing mentor to me. And I think that relationship has definitely helped. And I could feel that from the first time we sort of connected. And so I would say like those things all drew me into what Smith College has to offer from an education standpoint for myself and from a growth as a coaching standpoint.
Awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I guess kind of similar, I suppose. I don't come from quite a family of coaches, because I don't know, coaches are awesome. But I did grow up in a family that sports and athletics were definitely at the forefront. My father was a very successful athlete, and he coached me pretty much my whole life up until high school. And so I had a little bit of that sort of coursing through my blood. I think I always knew on some level I wanted to coach. I can go through a list of my coaches, and easily they're on the top of that list for the people who ended up influencing who I became as a person. I mean, I kind of am who I am, but they definitely brought out and nurtured the best parts of me. And I am like, I owe them so much debt for that. And I feel like I've recognized that for a long time. I just didn't think that coaching would be the thing, like my primary thing, you know. I had that education minor, and I was like, I'm gonna go work for the National Park Service, and, you know, maybe I'll do some coaching on the side, or I'll teach and I'll coach. And, you know, just sort of how the cards fell, I ended up coaching collegiately, and luckily in that space you're able to do it full time as a coach. And just sort of all of those things that I felt about how awesome my coaches were and that influence that they had on me, and the desire to be that person for someone else, just like instantly took over. And so I knew I wanted to coach. And Smith in particular, I think I ended up there just because when you're in the coaching world, which I had just sort of stepped into, especially in New England, I was coaching at Colby College where I went. People knew about this program. People that I worked with went to this program. In terms of New England, getting to both go to school to get a graduate degree and coach simultaneously, this is it, you know. There are places where you can be a graduate assistant throughout the country, but it's not necessarily meshed together. You're sort of a graduate you're a student first in some sort of master's program, and then you talk to the coach and you work your way into maybe getting some stipend money. But this was a fantastic opportunity to combine those two things. And I felt like the coaching world, it has become pretty demanding, and you need to differentiate yourself. And not only do you need to be able to orchestrate a team, but a lot of places are looking for you to actually have, you know, concrete book knowledge and a lot of experience. And so Smith was going to provide that. And there was always this undercurrent of feeling like I, as a women's coach, needed to prove myself a little bit more. And so going to a program like this, I hoped that, you know, there wouldn't be any questions anymore. You know, if I could crush it and I could go back to school and learn how to be a coach and be a coach at the same time, then, like, you know, no one could stand in my way. And it's definitely provided that opportunity for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. No offense to Taylor, but actually Smith was one of the first places that I had a female coach, which I think is kind of insane, especially in a sport like volleyball, where it is a predominantly women's sport, but it's just like the coaches are so male, like coaching in volleyball is so male dominated, which has always been interesting to me. So I love when our GAs come in, and, you know, I've only ever had female GAs on volleyball, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like, I love that, like, Smith fosters this environment for women coaches, especially because, like, while I've loved all my male coaches and I've had great male coaches, like, there's just something about a female coach in a female sport that makes it a little easier, you know. I know volleyball, we're wearing spandex. Like, no guy knows what it's like to wear spandex in the middle of, you know, the Springfield gym. Just putting that one out there. But so yeah. I think that's awesome, and I think your point is, like, so valid. No offense, Taylor, but I love my male coaches too.
Yeah,
you know, I have one right now. Greg's
I
awesome.
had a lot of male coaches growing up, predominantly male coaches, and these are the people who are my biggest mentors. So obviously they were doing something right. It didn't matter that, you know, I identified as a woman and they identified as male. But I do think that, you know, it has been pretty uneven historically, and both genders, anyone really, can provide a lot. It's just admitting, like you said, like, I don't know the reality of being anything other than an identified female athlete, but acknowledging that and committing myself to understanding that and trying to learn more about the realities that I haven't lived. I can fill those spaces and fill them well, but to make coaches more evenly distributed, I can bring a sort of reality and experiences that other people can't bring. And so not one is better than the other, but to have a more equal mix is definitely, I think, more beneficial for
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you talked about a lot about like the academics that Smith provides in your program. And I know a lot of athletes we all take ESS courses. It's just kind of like the nature of being an athlete at Smith, but we always look at your classes, the 500 level classes, and be like, these look really interesting. So what has been your favorite class at Smith and why?
Neer, you, Alanna.
I can go. I think because I was a science major in college and I've always sort of leaned in that direction, and that's how my brain works. I'm very drawn to those courses, and my sport is like, you know, the nitty gritty of running is so physiological. And so it's very relevant to me to be learning those things. So I've absolutely adored things like anatomy and physiology that I'm in right now, and biomechanics, just because they sort of appeal to who I am as a student. And also I feel like if I learn them well enough, it'll be like the key to just become like the greatest running coach ever. Like I'll just figure out how to do it perfectly, which isn't realistic, but maybe there's some new gem hidden in that somewhere. So yeah, I like those classes.
That's cool.
I would say I'm on the other end of the spectrum, right? I was an anthropology major, which is, I definitely took my fair share of bio and bioanth classes, but you know, I hadn't taken a science class in a long time. And physics was never in my realm. But biomechanics with Steph Jones, who was such an amazing like professor, mentor, human to us. That was that class changed the way I think about coaching, and that changed the way I see myself in the world in terms of what role physics is playing. Like, I like physics. Like never expected to say that in my life, but because of biomechanics, like I really truly enjoyed physics and in the way that like physics plays on sport. But I don't think we've taken a bad class. We're taking exercise physiology right now, which has been the most challenging class I've taken in a long time, but I'm like, the growth and the knowledge I'm already retaining from that has been amazing. We took an amazing sports psychology class, which was one of those classes where every day after class I'd go back to the office and I'd be like, Jeanette, we have to do this. Like this is it. Like this is the answer right here. And she's like, okay, fine, let's try it. Right. And so I think those classes where I every day would be like, oh my God, I get it. Like let's apply this. Are those classes where I really have found the most fun and like grown the most.
Awesome. So I know being an athlete at Smith, like we really respect the GAs and we respect like what they bring to our programs. But especially now, because, you know, usually we have very different lives on campus, but now we're kind of all in the same realm. Like you guys are taking classes over Zoom, we're taking classes over Zoom. What advice do you have for your athletes or all Smith athletes kind of in this COVID environment?
Whoa.
Sorry, that was a loaded question.
That's loaded. Oh gosh, might defer to Taylor to go first on this one. Collect my thoughts.
I would say like patience, self-care are some of the things that I've found the most important. Really explaining your personal standards, expectations, what you need, what support really looks like to you, so that we can give it, right? Because from my perspective, right, I can do 10 different things and set up all these meetings and do all these, right? In my mind, I'm providing this environment for you to succeed, right? But if I'm not meeting you where you are and helping you from where you are, we're missing, right? So I think in terms of just being really upfront with professors, coaches, people about how you're feeling, how you're doing, what you need, what support looks and feels like to you right now is really important. And it's one of those things, like at the end of the day, you should feel like you accomplished something. You should feel like you were challenged. You should feel like you've grown a little. And so I think continuing to set little goals and objectives and missions for yourself to accomplish through this semester will be really beneficial to helping like push us past that finish line. But I think, like, love yourself, love what you're doing, be patient with yourself, like give yourself that radical self-love you deserve. And it will definitely help fuel you through this craziness that we're all sort of navigating together.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. I don't know if I can say anything better than that. I'm just sitting here nodding my head at everything Taylor is saying. I think, and Taylor brought this up in a different Zoom format, maybe earlier in the summer, about meeting athletes, meeting students where they are. And that, I guess, I don't know, it can't be a very literal term right now, but I think that is definitely a huge key, is understanding that the situation that we're in is very different, and that each individual situation is very different, and the challenges that we're facing look and feel very different than the challenges that we were facing when we were on campus. And sometimes remembering that, it wasn't exactly super easy every single day, even when we were together. And so, the challenges may have shifted. Perhaps there are some positives that you can sort of mine from this new space that we find ourselves in. But recognizing that sort of everyone is sort of navigating this together. And one of my favorite quotes is, be as kind to yourself as you are hard on yourself. And I think that's, very similar to what Taylor is saying, is like, you have to recognize that the challenges you're facing are different, and be patient, and recognize that you are navigating this and figuring it out. And it might not come as fast as you want, and other people are going through this too. So I don't know, you're not alone. We're in it together, and the best that we can do is reflect and use this as an experience to, in the long term, become better, even if right now it feels kind of gross. Mm-hmm. That the payoff might come a little bit later, and we can look back at it and laugh maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe one day. So I have one last question, and I just kind of one word. But Kristen challenged, I don't know if you heard this, but Kristen challenged all of the freshmen or first years to create a fight song for Smith College athletics. And if you had to vote right now, which team is going to create the fight song? For all the marbles.
Our team listens to a lot of Taylor Swift while they work out, which just doesn't always feel like the fight song. I don't know. I'm going to give it to soccer. We rock. We're going to come up with it. Our first years are awesome.
I got to stick with my squad. Cross country and track and field, there are some brilliantly creative minds on our team that I admire so much. And throughout COVID, when we've sort of been on our computers, they've produced some videos and music videos and other media pieces that are just like have blown my mind. So I'm going to give it to cross country and track and field.
I feel like that's true. I feel like cross country and track and field and tennis as well. They always just come out of the woodwork, and you're like, dang.
Heck yeah.
That's pretty good. You're like,
and then when we pop out.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I know you both are second years, and we might not, depend. I hope we see you in the spring. But if we don't, I know everybody is wishing you guys the best of luck. And we'll definitely all catch up at some point. I know Taylor and I now have to work on this all athletics workout. Yeah. We're gonna get it.
I'm here for it. Time and place. I'll be there.
Okay. So thank you both so much for joining the second episode of the Neer Network.
Thank you, Caleigh.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, guys.